Just $20 per month. Just call me, your mobile Verizon rep, at 352-528-0020.
All right, 5 minutes after 8 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in this Wednesday morning, Veterans Day morning. And one of our favorite veterans is on the phone, Galen Unold, who served us in the U.S. Navy. Good morning, Galen.
Hey, good morning, Larry, Robin. How are you all?
Good. How are you?
Good. Good.
Where are you today?
I took the day off today.
Good. Are you going to go do anything special? What are you doing?
My wife took the day off too, so I'm going to hang out with her.
Yeah, that's the best. Hey, that's what you earn. You earn that. You deserve that. You do.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, no, there are some that paid a much higher price than I did, and I've said this before. And
you all say that.
Everybody will listen. Yeah, but it was the best decision I'd made in my life.
It was just by the grace of God, though, that you're still with us. I mean, by the grace of God, you could have been one of those who were remembering.
I mean, I mean, my ship was in the theater of war, but we were very rarely at the tip of the spear.
That's
the way
but that
some of these guys are.
But things could have changed.
I mean, anything could have happened, but there are. I wasn't in a position where, my life was at risk every day. So,
but your ship could have been the ship that was the USS Cole. A bomb could have been, and then you could have died.
Yeah, a million things could have happened. When I joined, I realized that I don't think it really sunk in at that time because I was 17 when I actually signed up, but. You never really think you're going to die. And it's not like when they recruit you, they talk about how, hey, you could die for your country. So they don't, but in boot camp, they talk about, you don't want to die for your country. You want to make somebody else die for theirs. That's the purpose of the military.
Wow.
I mean, I understand it, but there are a lot of people that are around us that paid a much, much higher price than I did. So I got, and I tell people all the time, I got a lot more from the Navy than I gave it. So that is an undeniable fact. So they taught me things that I still use in everyday life. So yeah, I owe more to the Navy than it owes me.
Okay, so when we get to the thing I've prepared for today, I want to tell you I got it from a website that you will probably enjoy because there's a lot of great videos on this. It's called military.com. And I'll play some sound bites from it.
Some of them.
Have you seen some of them?
One of my favorite military videos is if you go on YouTube and you put helicopter Ye of Little Faith. It is fantastic.
No, really? What happens?
It's great. So here's what happened. So this helicopter pilot, he's an Apache pilot. He sends a signal to his base or something and says, hey, I'm going to go under the bridge. And the guy comes back and says, hey, you're not going to be able to make it. The winds are really high. And the guy comes back with, oh, ye of little faith. And then 10 seconds later, you see his helicopter come to a screeching halt because it hits the wind and he actually has to set it down. And then he comes back and he's just saying all these expletives because he's pretty embarrassed, but it's pretty funny.
Oh no! So the one video I found that I'm going to play some sound bites from for you today is titled 5 Things You Don't Know About the U.S. Navy.
That's cool.
Okay.
So, in other words, I won't be reading them to you. You'll be hearing them over the phone. And the guy who you'll be hearing is a guy from the Army, his Master Sergeant Benari Polton, from the U.S. Army Reserve, I should say. And so he's giving us 5 things we may not know about the Navy. And I didn't know any of them. I didn't know any of them. So I'm assuming somebody in the Navy, like yourself, you probably know some of these, if not all of them.
Yeah, we'll see.
Let me go to the phone first. Good morning. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, guys. Mike McCoy.
Hey, Mike.
Thank you to all our veterans that have served our country. Like Galen, I went in at a very, very young age. I was a little farm boy from Michigan, stupid as a bucket of bolts, and had no clue what I was getting into. And I'm sure Galen can remember this in boot camp, the excitement of going to boot camp. And then about 2 or 3 weeks later, you're thinking, how do I get out of here and kill the recruiter? and then just like Galen said, you learn things not only in the Navy but in the boot camp that have carried you through the rest of your life. When I went in, all I remember was I was going to get a lot of money, and I had free food, free clothes. It was fantastic. Well, believe it or not, it really did work out that way in a way, because I came out of boot camp a third-class petty officer, and they had no clue about it. It was an academic promotion. I was 17, stupid as a bucket of bolts again. But I remember that the reason I joined was the money, the education, and the adventure. And I had no clue about I was serving my country. I had no clue about it. Later on in my life, I realized.
Well, that's a great. I agree that's great to hear. Yeah. Well, thank you for your service, Mike, and obviously you contribute to this show all the time. So thank you for that as well.
But
now we get free food all over the place today.
That's right. You guys get free food today.
Yeah. Thank you, Mike.
Best food in the world. The Navy's food is the best of any military.
Oh, no, it's not. No, I'm going to disagree on that.
Well, in my Navy, it was.
Well, in my Navy, I was in the Republic of the Philippines and at sea something like 85% of the time, and so we ran out of everything pretty quickly.
Oh, so, well, I was a CB, so...
Well, you're on base. You're on land. Yeah. No.
The real Navy.
Yeah, I was at sea.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Mike. Applebee's, Bob Evans, Bonanza, Cheeseburger in Paradise, Chili's, Cracker Barrel, Denny's, Friendly's, Golden Corral, Outback, Olive Garden, Logan's Roadhouse, Little Caesars, Crystal Hamburgers, IHOP, Hooters, Ponderosa Steakhouse, Red Lobster, Ruby Tuesdays, Ryan's, Shoney's, Sizzler, Starbucks, Texas Roadhouse, TGI Fridays, Tijuana Flats, Tony Roma's, Uno Pizzeria, and Village Inn. All of those restaurants, and there were more. These are the ones that I recognize from being in our
basically.
Area.
If you don't, then you're kind of you're a bad place.
Yeah. And if you're in Dunellen today, Purple Sage Cafe for breakfast. So the Purple Sage Cafe in Dunellen at 20359 East Pennsylvania Avenue.
There you go. All right. So before we do the 5 things you don't know about the Navy, according to an Army guy, how is the blood supply? We need to know that.
We really need, again, we're still in need of A negative, B negative, and O negative. So just get out there and roll up your sleeves and get the life and donate blood, because we're in need of everything. Thanksgiving's 2 weeks away, so just get out there and get the life and donate blood.
And be sure to thank Pan Flooring for Galen being able to make that announcement each day. They have some beautiful flooring you might want to consider. They have a showroom where they show it all off. And the showroom is at 1201 Southwest 17th Street. They've been in the flooring business for over a quarter of a century. They know their stuff, and they've got some good stuff to show you as well. Thank them for sponsoring this. They're by the bridge called the McKay Williams Bridge, the bridge that crosses the railroad tracks on 17th, just a few blocks from Pine. And also thank the folks over at Palm Garden, because they also sponsor this, and they have a beautiful facility. If you ever need a facility for somebody who is in need of a rehabilitative facility or a assisted living facility or long-term health care facility, that's the place to go. Take a tour, call them up, or just stop by and say, hey, can I have a tour? And you'll see for yourself what we're talking about. Go to Palm Garden and thank them for sponsoring this as well. All right, you ready? I think I can get one in before the break. All right, so now I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to play a soundbite, something you may not have known about the Navy, and then I want to have Galen comment on what he hears. This is from Master Sergeant Benari Polton. I got this from military.com.
Well, everyone knows Neil Armstrong's role in the 1969 moon landing.
That's one small step for man.
His service to our nation actually began with a stint in the U.S. Navy. In August 1947, Armstrong enlisted in the U.S. Naval Reserves. He reported for active duty in February 1949. He then went on to fly 78 missions as a naval aviator during the Korean War, many of which were as an armed reconnaissance pilot. In fact, on September 3rd, 1952, while flying a Grumman F-9F Panther, Armstrong was hit by anti-aircraft fire. Although he was able to fly the plane back to friendly territory, it was so severely damaged that he was forced to eject. After completing his tour of duty in Korea, Armstrong opted to stay in the U.S. Naval Reserves for another 8 years, finally resigning in 1960. So the first man to set foot on the moon was actually a U.S. Navy veteran.
There you go. Did you know that?
Nice.
Whoops. Did you?
I did actually. Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you know all those other little facts about Neil Armstrong?
No, I did. I knew he was in Korea. I didn't know. I don't remember what he did in Korea, but in boot camp they really talk about the history of the Navy and some of the more prominent Navy guys, and he's one of them. So.
What are the chances that your sons know that the first man to step foot on the moon was a Navy guy?
Nil. Probably close to nil.
Probably not.
Yeah. You know, it's weird because sometimes they'll do stuff in class on different people, and they'll
okay.
What they know.
Yeah.
But you know, as you eloquently said, my son, you know, your son learned nothing at school for 18 years, but somehow he graduated with a diploma. So, you know, it's amazing how that happens.
And he graduated magna cum laude from the University of Florida.
Right.
So there you go.
That's it. Yeah.
In case I don't want Alex to take that out of context. The joke, Alex, was this: every day when you were a kid, I would say, "What did you learn today?" And you would say nothing. Every single day I would ask you, "What did you learn?" Nothing. And then you graduated. So
magna cum laude.
I'm gonna take a phone call.
It's a great line.
Four more things. That we may not know about the Navy, although Galen knew that one. Neil Armstrong was a Navy guy. Good morning, you're on the air.
Morning, Larry, Robin, and Galen. I just want to say that I want to thank all the veterans out there and the people currently serving. I really appreciate it. I'll share a very quick story. When I was in the military eons ago, I was stationed at Walter Reed Army Medical Center as a medic. And I learned an important life lesson that actually carried through me my whole life. And I took care of an old World War II veteran who was a diabetic, missing his legs, and I also took care of a Desert Storm young guy who was missing a couple of his toes recently from the war. And the young guy would sit up every morning and cuss at people and throw his urinal at people. And the old World War II veteran would get up every morning, shave. He had no legs. He didn't want to eat in his bed. He would shave, get dressed, take a shower, and go down to the mess hall every day. The lesson I learned was that everything in your life is all in your mind. That's the only thing that separated those two guys was their strength and their mind. And that kind of helped me through a lot of tough spots in my life. And I just want to thank all the veterans.
There you go. That's a great story. Yeah, character says everything, doesn't it? All right, thank you.
All right, have a great day.
Thank you for that. Let's take that little break, and then I've got the other 4 things out of 5 things you may not know about the Navy, and as we celebrate Veterans Day this Wednesday, November 11th.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. Low clouds and areas of fog will give way to partly sunny skies today in this Veterans Day holiday with a high of 81 to 85. Tonight will be mainly clear with lows ranging from the upper 50s in a few inland spots to the mid to upper 60s along the coast. Tomorrow mostly sunny and quite warm, high 84 to 88. For Friday, plenty of sunshine and pleasant, the high 82 to 86. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
If you're anything like I was, the thought of getting older was the last thing on your mind. But here we are. For me, it started slowly. The lack of energy, never being in the mood, and when I was, I could never perform at my best. I tried the pills and other treatments with minimal results, and all but given up on my sex life. Then, I found the doctors at New Male Medical Center. Wow, they made a new male out of me. Feel like I'm 25 again. I have renewed vigor, so much more energy, and no longer worry about my performance. New Male treated me like my situation was one of a kind, with a custom treatment plan that really works. I feel great. They can create one for you too. It does not matter if you suffer from low testosterone, erectile dysfunction, or just want to last longer. New Male will help you.
Call New Male Medical Center today at 352-404-4779. 352-404-4779. That's 352-404-4779. It will change your life. 352-404-4779.
Hey, Robin, my friend's mother is getting out of the hospital and needs rehab before she goes home. Do you know of a rehab you'd recommend?
Sure. Our friend Jan Marino works at Palm Garden, and she's always talking about the work they do there.
Great idea. I'm going to call Jan right now. What's the number?
854-6262.
I'll call 854-6262, or I might just stop by Palm Garden. It's at the corner of 27th Avenue and 34th Street.
Great. I'll go with you.
All right, 20 minutes after 8 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Galen Unold is on the phone from LifeSouth Community Blood Center. The important message that we get from Galen is there's a blood supply only because people like you stop from their day and they take a half hour or so and they donate blood. Simple as that. Otherwise, there's no blood supply. And, of course, we're remembering Veterans Day also. And during the break, Galen was saying, I hope a lot of people show up at the Vets Park.
Yes.
Don't forget the Vets Park event starts at 11 o'clock today. So.
Yes, it does. 2,000 school students will be there also celebrating the veterans.
Yeah.
So,
all right, the next.
If you've never been, you need to go. It's well worth it. It's going to be a beautiful day out there too. So, yeah, just do it. It's worth it. You'll come away feeling a lot better about how veterans are appreciated. More important, how the youth really appreciate veterans and how they get an understanding of it and why we actually have school today. So I think it'll be very useful.
And the Leeward Air Ranch Warbirds will be there too. They'll be flying in military formation.
They're really cool. Yeah, they're really cool.
The next thing that you may not know has to do with the Navy veterans who served on submarines.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just listen to it because I can't remember what the guy said now.
Wow.
And the guy who is speaking is Master Sergeant Benari Polton from the U.S. Army Reserve. Here he is.
Although the silent service represented less than 2% of all naval personnel during World War II, they accounted for the highest casualty percentage of all armed forces. Throughout the course of the war, 52 U.S. Navy submarines were lost, taking with them more than 3,500 officers and enlisted men. Those losses average out to approximately 22% of all submariners being killed in action.
Wow. Did you know that?
I didn't know that percentage. I knew it was high. I knew they lost, a lot of guys. And, one of the things they do when you go in is they sign, like if the ship is attacked, what your percentage of survival rate is. I forgot what they call it, something like that. And I remember my rate was like one of the highest death rates on the ship. I was like, oh, there you go.
Really? Why?
Wow.
Why?
Because of my job, I was always outside on the bridge, the signalman, and I guess that I was an easy target.
Wow.
I had a flashing light or a flag. But yeah.
Yeah, you were the communication guy, and if they could knock out the communications guy, then it'd be easier.
Yeah, my rate was useless when I was in, and they canceled it soon after I got out. So, yeah.
Today at
visual communication is a thing of the past.
At the Veterans Park, one of the things they'll be doing today is the 21-gun salute.
Yes.
And this next piece of information you may not have known about the U.S. Navy is about the 21-gun salute. So once again, here is Master Sergeant Benari Polton to tell us about that.
Today, the 21-gun salute is fired in honor of the President, ex-President, and President-elect of the United States, as well as to honor a national flag or the chief of state or sovereign of a foreign nation. The tradition of the salute, however, actually dates back to the time of wooden warships. When approaching a port, the ship would fire all of its cannons out to sea as a means of showing it was disarmed, and therefore not a threat.
Never knew that. Did you know that?
Never knew that.
Galen?
I didn't. I didn't know that. No, I always thought that 21 guns. I knew that the 21 guns was related to the military, but I had no idea that it goes back to the days of showing you're not armed. That doesn't make any sense, does it? You're firing guns to say that you're unarmed.
Yeah, I know. It is kind of a crazy thing. I mean, you see a ship out there, and they're unloading every one of their cannons.
Yeah. Yeah, you'd think they'd keep the ammunition.
I don't know. That's what I'm just taking. Oh, well,
that's pretty cool.
Take it for his word. Fact, what do I know? He's the Master Sergeant.
I'm sure he looked right on Wikipedia.
Good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, back in those days, a cannon was a front-loading weapon, and the only way you could unload it was to discharge it.
Okay, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, we saw some of them at the well, not them, but at the
Civil War
reenactment the last Saturday.
The Ocklawaha River raid on Saturday.
All right, here's the next one. Now, I'm going to ask Galen this question because I know what this guy is saying on this one. What place is considered the birthplace of the Navy? Do you know?
Yeah, I thought it was in Philadelphia with the when they did the convention.
You are right.
And they decided they needed to form a Navy and an Army.
You are right.
Gosh.
Continental Congress. That's what it was, right?
That's right.
Congress?
That's right. But there's an asterisk here, and I will let him explain. While you yes, while you are right, Master Sergeant Benari Polton has the rest of the story. Here it is.
While the U.S. Navy recognizes its birthday as October 13, 1775, it does not take an official stance on its birthplace. As a matter of fact, no less than 6 American towns and cities lay claim to the title. Included on the list is Machias, Maine, who claims the distinction because that's where a small sloop armed with American woodsmen seized a Royal Navy schooner on June 12, 1775. Beverly, Massachusetts, and Marblehead, Massachusetts have a competing claim that centers around the fact that in September 1775, General George Washington ordered the schooner Hannah fitted out as the first armed sea vessel of the American Revolution. Because the Hannah was outfitted in Beverly, but the captain and crew hailed from Marblehead, both towns claim to be the ship's home port, and therefore the Navy's birthplace. In addition to these 3, Providence, Rhode Island also claims the title because their residents were the first to propose a resolution to build and equip an American fleet in October 1775. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania claims to be the birthplace because that's where the Continental Congress met on October 13th, when it voted to establish the Continental Navy and resolved to build 2 armed vessels. And finally, Whitehall, New York claims the distinction because that's where the first ships were actually built in the summer of 1776.
Yeah.
Wow.
So listening to all of that, I think I would have to go with Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Because that's the date and the place that that the decision was made.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, they all have a claim to it. It's kind of cool, all the claims, isn't it? So.
That's right.
So Whitehall.
The Marines should be very thankful of all those cities for allowing us the vehicles to take them wherever it is they need to go.
That's right.
The next one, I'm guessing you knew the next one.
You're wonderful, Galen.
The next one is about the size.
Got to take my shots at Canadians and Marines.
That's right.
That's what I do.
The next one is the size of the Navy. That's the last fact you may not have known.
Okay.
Is about the size, and it's. I think I sort of, kind of, even knew this, not the whole thing, but part of this.
The largest military force in the world.
I knew that. That's the part I knew, but I didn't know the rest of this, and so here it is.
The current U.S. Navy leads the world in terms of size, strength, and global reach. However, in comparison to its peak strength during World War II, today's Navy is downright tiny. Remarkably, between 1941 and 1945 alone, the U.S. Navy added nearly 6,000 ships to its total strength. This included an impressive 27 aircraft carriers, 77 escort carriers, and more than 360 destroyers, including the battleships, cruisers, destroyer escorts, transports, and countless other vessels. This amounted to a peak strength of more than 6,700 operational ships during the war.
Wow, it's just amazing, isn't it?
I did know that.
So even though we've diminished in size, we're still the biggest in the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is something.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, the second place is a long way off from us. It's in the Navy. So
what is it? China? Would China be second place?
I haven't looked at it in a while, but I would assume it was China.
I wouldn't be surprised.
For a long time, when I was in, it was Russia. Russia was number 2. And we would just follow each other around. That's kind of what we would do. So
I'm squeezing a quick phone call, then we'll get the Bloodmobile stuff. Good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah. Good morning. My little commercial for the Seabees. The Seabees always get it done because they always have a plan B. It might not be done the way they were told to do it, but they get it done.
Okay.
Have a good day.
I'm kind of like them. I always have a plan B as well.
That's right. Exactly. Have to always have a plan B.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that. That was kind of something I was looking forward to doing with you. And enjoy your Veterans Day. Thank you for your service. And real quickly, where's the Bloodmobile today?
Bloodmobile today, we're right back at Wedgwood Lane. That's Walmart and Wedgwood Lane.
Wedgwood Lane.
There you go. It's a good collection point for you guys.
We started a new campaign.
Absolutely, and we proudly supply 6 VA hospitals throughout the Southeast. So, understand that, when you donate blood, it does impact veterans' lives.
Absolutely. Thank you, Galen. Have a great day.
You guys are the best.
All right, we'll
bye,
be right
all.
back.
Fox News Radio, I'm Carmen Roberts. The fourth GOP debate has candidates squaring off with each other more than with the panel. Ohio Governor John Kasich and Donald Trump butt heads on deporting illegal immigrants.
Come on, folks. We all know you can't pick them up and ship them across back